Today is December 13th, 2024, and as a complete moron I usually am, I began looking around for games just for fun, and eventually I checked the gracious, the glorious Humble Bundle. Humble Bundle is one of the best sites for just obtaining so many games at just a great cheap price, and I wouldn't have discovered it if it wasn't for Foki and his YouTube video game sales and how to cheat the system. So thank you for the video, and I would say go check out his channel right now, like right this second. I will threaten you. So while looking around on Humble Bundle, I did find something very, very worthwhile. Metrovania Mania. For 12 bucks, I could obtain 7 Metrovania games, with those being 9 Years of Shadow, Axiom Verge 1 and 2, Cookie Cutter, Ghost Song, Death's Gambit Afterlife, and The Night Witch. So I decided while purchasing it, and to help trick my brain into buying it, I had decided to make a series out of this. Because why not? I'm going to play every game from within the bundle, hopefully within a nice, reasonable time. So with that explained, I decided to choose a weird game, with that being Cookie Cutter, a game with 36 achievements and a very positive rating on Steam. And if you've watched the video this far, then I don't feel like I have to explain what a Metrovania is. But of course, spoiler warning for those who want to play. But then again, I kind of skim over a lot of things. I want to get this video out in like 3 days, so I'm going to skim a lot of things. So with everything explained, let's get into the game. We start the game with a cutscene explaining how a planet was formed from absolutely nothing but the void itself, and creating the planet out of a matter named the megastructure. And with the new planet, many tried to discover its secrets, but all ended in failure and death, and being taken by the Shadow Realm most likely. But despite all that, a single man named Victor Galbalzis was able to return from the heart of the planet with almost everything he could want. And with that almighty power, he promised the people immortality within the life of the robots named the Denzels. But even with immortal life promised to the citizens, eventually corruption takes over and the Denzels become nothing but gears in a system. And with enough time, rebels begin to fight back against the corruption, but no matter how much they fight, it's just not enough. But someone on the inside decides to backstab them and make her own Denzel, free from the corruption, named Shinju Bao, while also creating us, the player, named Cherry. But one night, the company sends their corporate goons to attack us and they kidnap our creator. And before I continue, I want to say that this scene is amazing, but also super terrifying and unsettling. However, because I'm a complete moron, I forgot to set up the audio input, so I can't exactly set the scene, but don't worry, it's creepy. And I'm kind of glad I didn't set the thing up because, oh boy, I don't know if YouTube would have liked it. But with our creator being kidnapped and us being completely broken apart by corporate bastards and our body being completely shattered into pieces, we now have our target to kill, and his name being Salem Garbozis. After that horrifying scene, we wake up and begin chatting with the man that had fixed us, named Roz, a friend of Shinji, and who was able to somehow put us back together despite the conditions, and even though we were so broken apart. After we wake up, we receive good news that we've all healed up and ready to start fighting. But of course, we owe Roz a favor, and immediately he wants to turn in that favor. He's lost his tool bag where a bunch of bugs lie, and since he's too chicken shit to go get them, we're off to go retrieve it. And of course, we have that favor to turn in, we go in and get it. So down the hole we go. We get our mandatory tutorial, and I speedrun that like it's nothing. And with that, we get our first weapon, the gauntlets, while unlocking the first achievement, Mechanical Knockout, while also learning how to be an absolute monster and tearing monsters apart into absolute pieces, doing what are called brutals and making progress towards another achievement that will pop up random at one point. Eventually, we learn how to heal ourselves and get self-soothing. We then retrieve the bag from the underground, turn it in, and get ourselves a hidden diner key and the achievement Coop Key Cutter. But with that, we begin our exploration. At this point in the story, we have 2 points that we can explore, either the left or the right. I decided to go to the left side first, and we get the achievement Factory Tour, and while fighting through everything, we eventually encounter a prophet named Althea, while also getting our mandatory Metrovania standard double jump and getting us She Can Dunk. We also get our first mini-boss, who's an absolute pushover,
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
and we beat it on our first try. We also obtained the lead visor for a later mission and achievement, and maybe some devious activities. We do explore quite a bit more, eventually stumbling into the Bloody Den and getting us sole proprietorship. But we won't be back here for quite a decent while, so we'll put this on the back burner and come back to this later. But with that done, we leave the left region and I decide to enter the right region, getting us the achievement Just Pretend It's Ketchup. But before we can enter the area properly, we find ourselves a man who's just suffering. But since I'm too lazy to care and I have achievements to hunt, we leave him behind. But outside of that, nothing really interesting happens until we find the most real metalhead named Jacko. This man is an absolute Chad with his music, but despite his absolute Chad aura, he's lost his lyrics books and he needs us to find it. And since I respect the man, I decide to help him. We then encounter an old geezer who talks about having no vision, and luckily for him, we got the lead visor. I give him the lead visor off my hands, and in exchange, he gives us the elevator keycard, another tool we'll use later. This geezer also holds another trophy behind him, but we'll get to that road when we get to it. And the gods must have blessed me since there's a power-up station right next to the geezer, getting us the achievement Sleight of Hand. And an ability that's not only funny, it's actually kind of cracked in the game, and I recommend using this for most of your encounters in a fight. But with that and the power of my intrusive thoughts, I decided to go into the freaking disgusting toilet and get the worst toilet in the megastructure. Eventually, with enough exploration, we enter a region named Electro Titanium Foundry, and the achievement Found the Foundry. With more exploration, we find what are called components. Essentially, the powers that take up slots that you have in exchange make you stronger in certain ways. Similar to Hollow Knight's charm mechanic, this is also connected to 2 achievements that we are going to need. One for finding all the components, and the second one for finding all the energy cells. Energy cells are what gives us more slots, similar to Hollow Knight's notches, but we'll have to focus on that later in the game when we have more mobility and can reach more spots. But speaking of mobility, we do get our next mobility piece, being the air dash and the achievement on your left. But with that attained, I decided to focus on the layer book for Jackal, and on my way, I get the achievement Way Too Brutal for performing 100 brutals. Which also, side note, brutals are an essential part of the game, and performing a brutal, you gain health and void. Void is also what you need to use your powerful weapons, since each of it consumes the void charge, and the only way to gain your void charge back is to deal damage with your basic punch, or getting an enemy stunned and performing a brutal. To get an enemy stunned, you just have to hit them with enough moves. But after that, we do find the Metalhead's layer book, so after a quick speedrun back to Jackal, we hand him the book, and in exchange, he gets our second weapon, which is absolutely badass and I only use once. But we do get it. If it's too loud, you're too old. We do encounter our first proper boss in the game, named the Odd Texture. This boss is actually a bit of a challenge, with mostly its rockets being my issue, since I couldn't really dodge that well, and mostly just because of the skill issue. But after enough dying and enough attempts while fighting against the tanky health, I get clean the world for defeating him. We then get a message from Sailor Garbanzos questioning how we are live, but we just say skill issue to him and move on. We do get a new power-up that isn't connected to any achievement, so I don't care, but we do get our first required item for the achievement, Sweet Tooth, requiring me to get all memory mementos and turning them into Alhia. On that topic, I do find another memory memento. We then find our next NPC, named Rob, who is an absolute pervert, but who will help me in a few achievements, and a required keycard that I missed picking up for way too damn long, until I googled it, and eventually fucking figured it out that he had it. But before we leave, he gives us a Donzel head, and we speedrun back to the Donzel body that we found all the way back at the start of the game. We make it back, give the headless robot his rightful head back, and we become best friends. He repays us with the gift of the Educator and the achievement, I'll teach you a lesson. The Educator is not just a weapon. It can help us break down crystal walls that we couldn't have passed earlier, and this will help us with just more exploration in general. We then do our exploration arc, and we find 2 locations with 2 achievements. The Crystal Pits, and my favorite town, Bastardville, with the achievements being As Off to Work We Go, and My Kind of Town. But even with the current equipment, we can't do much in these areas because most of them are locked off or I just don't have the right abilities. But we'll come back to this later. But before I fight another boss, I do get another achievement for saving my money and not spending anything. I'm rich bits for collecting 10,000 bits. But after that, we do encounter the next boss, and since I do not prefer to get sniped by YouTube, I won't say their name. But it's the same 2 bastards that smashed us into pieces early at the start of the game. And these 2 are the first bosses that I actually struggled for a bit. I died far too many times, but eventually I got it worked out. The strategy was to work on killing the gunman first, and as soon as he was taken out, start focusing on the other one. And whenever you can, use your Void Bullet for the extra damage. Void Bullet will be your friend almost in all bosses in Cookie Cutter, but eventually I kill both of them and get projectile dysfunction. This actually made me laugh really hard, so you have my praise. I think this is a great achievement, and I think it's the funniest one out of like all of them. After that boss, we of course explore more rooms, I struggle in rooms, obtain more power-ups, and eventually I encounter the next boss, and with this one being even harder. But I'm probably going to struggle with this game, so let's go. Bakasura is really tanky and has a lot of moves that can cripple your health down to nothing. Specifically, his chomp move can bring you to death's door. But after enough attempts and the constant use of Void Bullet, thank you, I kill him, getting Divide by Cut-Ups. Also, I believe I came here super unprepared with low damage, but I'm not so sure on that since it didn't really matter in the end since the Victor taste is so sweet, I started teabagging. After that sweet teabag, we meet ourselves a mutant named Theo. This man also gives the aura of another Chad, but even with the Giga Chad energy, he didn't plan on fighting Bakasura. He thanks us for killing it and gives us a new weapon, an achievement, She Blinded Me with Science. With the new weapon, we were able to explore some new areas, including the Diesel Lagoon, and getting us through the lagoon, which of course, more exploration. You think I'm changing the style if I would read the script? Nah, I'm just a broken record player. Yippee! But we do get some new gear with the ability to climb and slide on walls, with some sliding cherries. With that, we find some guards blocking the proper way into the Bastardville, but with us killing the earlier, we're able to enter the town like an absolute Chad, while also encountering a new metalhead named Nani. And for whatever freaking reason, she just feels like fighting us for no gosh darn reason. But we fight anyway, and this boss fight is slightly worse than the last fight, but with my newfound skills, it doesn't take forever, and I win the friendship is magic and all that crap. But after that, we decide to team up against the Bastard Man, and we get our key piece of information on where he is located, the Golden Tower. With some more speedrunning of that sort, we make it to the entrance and get, I know where you live, Salem. But before we continue the main story, and before I bitch about the parkour, I decide to focus on some of the side achievements. We first find Phoebe Talks. Phoebe Talks is really into monsters and wants to understand them more and try to be friends with them. So he wants us to collect monster parts, and since we've been befriending monsters this entire time, I've already gotten all the parts needed. So as soon as we turn them all in, he gives us a gift and decides to explore the world and chat with them. Well, goodbye friend, hope it goes well, and I hope you have an amazing life. Well, thanks for the achievement. I then find a statue that's a reference to the Metro series, but since I care about this video and don't want it to get sent to the void, I'm gonna have to censor it, but we do get the achievement, you don't speak Choto. I then decide to grind for all the motorcycle parts, and with most of them being decently okay, but one of the motorcycle pieces requires really bad parkour. At one point in the game, you'll get this bootleg version of the midair dash where you can aim it anywhere you want, except for it consumes half your freaking void and feels like you want to stick your head in the toaster. I'm not sure what exactly it is, if it's the timing, if it's the aiming, if it's just clunky, or it's just because of an absolute lack of skill, but using it in the parkour is not what it should be intended for, because it's so freaking hard and it does not freaking make sense, and aiming is so garbage. But after raging enough times and getting all the motorcycle parts we need, we turn them into Rob, and we get ourselves a motorcycle in a midlife crisis, and using it, we get a bunny hop. With that done, I decided to nail one more side achievement since I was already close to completing it, with that being Sugar Rush, which requires me to collect all energy cells, and after some good Google searches and crying a few rivers, I eventually reached the last one and obtained the sacred Sugar Rush. But with that, I mentally prepare myself and I decide to fight Salem Garbarzos. But before I fight him, we finally find our creator who seems to be in a really bad spot, beyond the ability to save herself and her final words telling us to run, save ourselves, and to run away from here and try to live a life outside of this. But despite her final words, we don't let go of this. We decide to fight the man who had hurt her and killed her, and to get revenge for what he had did, face to face, fighter to fighter. Let's do this.
Dang it! God! Shit! No! Bitch! Shit! No! Damn it! Fucking God! Fuck! Stupid! God damn it! Come on, man! Fuck! Oh, fucking God! Fuck! No! What? God! No!
This boss was a true boss, with its tanky health, high damage killers, and required me to use my brain for once in my life to win. But with one final strike, the monster that killed our creator has deserved his fate. And with that, our story comes to a fateful end. But we're not done yet. I'm currently missing 5 achievements, but I can knock out 1 right now. With the defeat of the final boss, we get our final memory memento. With me turning in the rest, we get ourselves Sweet Tooth. The next one I want to knock out requires the rest of the components that I've missed throughout the game. But luckily for me, I've only missed one of them. And luckily, it's at Bastardville. So we go there and buy our last component from a bootleg Sega character that maybe I shouldn't be talking about. But with that, we get Running Crisis on Max. With that, 3 achievements are left. And the next one isn't too bad. We quickly run back to Golden Tower, do some quick snooping around, and find ourselves a little hidden gallery from the dead Salem. And with that, we get stuck in my head. 2 more. The second to last achievement is quite the hefty buy. It requires me to upgrade all the weapons to max, which require random monster parts and quite a bit of money. I'm able to do quite a bit of damage for the achievement, but in the end, I'm missing some monster parts. So with a quick grinding session, I fixed that problem. But of course, from the laws of the universe, that's not only it. But luckily, I did think this through and I came up with a backup plan. I quickly throw on the component that gives me more money for monsters that I kill, quickly teleport to a grinding spot, turn on some music, and with enough time and grinding, we're able to receive enough money and finally upgrade all the weapons to their max counterparts, and finally getting these tools are my friends. And my final achievement, Baker's Dozen, for getting every other achievement. But since I must be cursed by the glitch gods, it doesn't pop up after getting the last achievement. But luckily enough for me, backing out and backing into the game was enough to pop the achievement. Thank the lords. I don't want to have another heart attack with broken achievements. And with all achievements obtained, we can close this game and put this to rest. But before I end this video, I do want to say a few things. First of all, if you like Metrovania games, I would recommend this game, or at least giving it a try. I feel like this game does have some love in it, and I really feel like this game just is fun to play. However, I do have a few issues / concerns. For instance, there's dialogue at the start of the game, but for whatever reason, once you leave and start exploring, the dialogue just ends. And I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but I feel like they could have just added dialogue throughout the entire game or just remove it altogether. Most Metrovanias don't really have dialogue, and you don't even need dialogue to make a good Metrovania game. I just feel like since they went with this route, it just sticks out like a sore thumb, and it does not sit well with me. I dislike some of its parkour, but I've already ranted about this, so there's no point in me ranting about it again, just besides saying freak the parkour. But I do have positives as well. The art style is really something. It really goes off like a fun / serious style, which helps it. I did like most of the void abilities, and I felt like they had some style with them, and the weapons were also had their own kind of uniqueness to them. But I feel like that maybe I just got hooked onto the gauntlets for too long, because I just used the gauntlet the entire run. They're just fast-paced weapons, good for knocking out and good for brutals. And I did like the story and lore spread out among the game within the little tablets that you can find once you look around. I would have gone over them, but I don't want to double the video's runtime. But with everything said, it's a good game, and I give it a 7 out of 10 dental heads in the fun factor and a 5 out of 10 cookies in its difficulty. And with that, stay chill and watch some anime.